Welcome to 10-Minute Health Tech, the AI-powered podcast where we dive into healthcare technologies and companies so you don't have to. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Julia.
Today we're exploring Hinge Health, a company that set out to build a digital clinic for musculoskeletal pain.
A digital clinic. Wow.
Yeah.
How's that different from regular physical therapy?
Well, it's interesting, actually. Hinge Health was founded by two guys, Daniel Perez and Gabriel Mecklenburg, who both had kind of frustrating experiences with MSK injuries themselves.
So they've been there. They get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So Dan was in a pretty bad bike accident, actually broke a bunch of bones, and Gabe tore his ACL.
Ouch.
And it was during their recoveries
Okay.
that they came up with this idea for Hinge Health.
So they're trying to make it better for other people. It's not just about getting rid of the pain. It's about helping people get back to, doing the things they love.
That's a great point.
I read somewhere that they even have a tagline. It's "A joyful life hinges on your ability to move freely."
I love that.
Yeah.
It really gets to the core of what they're trying to do. But how does this digital clinic actually work?
Well, it combines real human expertise with some pretty advanced technology.
Okay.
So they use expert clinical care alongside things like, wearable sensors and computer vision analysis to create these really personalized programs.
Wearable sensors and computer vision, huh?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty high-tech. What does that mean exactly?
So one of their main technologies is this wearable sensor they call INSO.
Okay.
And it gives you real-time feedback while you're doing your exercises, almost like having a physical therapist, right there with you, making sure you're doing the movements correctly.
Got it.
So you're safe and getting the most out of it, even if you're at home.
Right.
And then there's the computer vision part. So the app uses your phone's camera to, watch your movements.
Oh, wow.
And give you feedback on your form, like a personal trainer in your pocket.
That's pretty cool. But all this fancy tech, it's got to be expensive, right?
Mm-hmm. You would think so, but actually, Hinge Health is available through over 2,000 employers and health plans, and a lot of times it's at no cost to the patient.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That makes it so much more accessible for people who might not have traditional physical therapy as part of their insurance.
Exactly. It really takes away that barrier to entry.
Right.
And really fits with their mission of making MSK care available to everyone.
That's fantastic. And within the app, what kinds of things do they offer to actually help users?
Well, they've got a whole bunch of features to empower users. So you've got personalized exercise plans, of course, but also you can message directly with your care team. There are tons of educational resources and even goal-setting tools.
So it's not just about the exercises. They're really providing a whole support system
Exactly.
to help people manage their pain. That's great.
And they're always expanding what they offer. They just launched a women's pelvic health program.
Yeah, I saw that. Addressing pelvic pain, bowel and bladder control, strengthening during, different life stages.
Yeah.
That's something you don't always see in traditional healthcare settings.
It really shows how patient-centered they are.
Yeah, for sure. So they've clearly put a lot of thought into this whole digital clinic model.
Yeah.
But the big question is it really as effective as going to, in-person physical therapy?
That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, let's dive into the research on that next.
One thing I find really interesting about Hinge Health is they've actually, published their results in peer-reviewed journals.
Oh, wow. So they're putting their money where their mouth is?
Right. It's not just marketing hype.
Yeah.
They've got the data to back it up.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So one study, it was in the Journal of Medical Internet Research,
Right.
found that Hinge Health users saw a 69% reduction in pain.
Whoa.
After only 12 weeks.
69%. That's huge. But is that just pain levels, or are there improvements in how well people can move around and just their overall quality of life?
It's everything. The same study showed improvements of 58% in function and 52% in quality of life.
Wow, so it's really making a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, and those findings actually line up with other research on digital MSK care. It's becoming clear that these programs can be just as effective as traditional therapy, maybe even better in some cases.
So you don't necessarily need to go see a physical therapist in person.
Right. It opens up so many possibilities for people who can't access traditional care or just, prefer the flexibility of doing it digitally.
Makes sense. But I'm curious about the human connection. Don't you lose that personal touch when you're doing everything through an app?
It's true. Some people really value that face-to-face interaction, but Hinge Health tries to address that by having, direct messaging with the care team built into the app. So if users have questions or need any support, they can reach out to their physical therapist or their coach.
So it's not like you're totally on your own.
Right. You still have that expert guidance, even though it's virtual.
And I bet some people actually find it easier to open up and ask questions when it's not face-to-face.
Yeah, definitely. It can feel less intimidating than a clinic setting.
Yeah.
And it lets people, engage with their care at their own pace.
So it's about finding what works for each individual.
Exactly.
And it seems like Hinge Health is offering a really great option, especially for people who might not have access to traditional care.
Yeah, they're really breaking down barriers and making high-quality MSK care more accessible and convenient. But I am curious, what's their long-term vision? What's next for Hinge Health?
Well, they've been making some moves that suggest they're thinking big.
Like what?
So they recently acquired another company that focuses on chronic pain management.
Interesting.
So it seems like they're looking to expand beyond just MSK issues.
Makes sense. MSK is just one piece of the chronic pain puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're also putting a lot of resources into AI and machine learning to make things even more personalized for users.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We talked about ENSO and the computer vision, but how are they using AI specifically?
So they're actually developing algorithms that can, analyze user data and predict who might be at risk for developing chronic pain in the future.
Oh, wow. So it's about prevention, not just treatment.
Exactly. It's proactive care.
I like that.
And they're also using AI to, personalize the exercise plans even further, give more specific feedback,
Okay.
and even suggest modifications based on how someone's progressing.
So it's like having a virtual physical therapist who's learning about you and adapting to your needs?
Exactly. And AI can even improve the communication between users and the care team.
How so?
They're using things like chatbots that can answer basic questions and offer support.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, AI is really key to making the program more effective, more efficient, and easier to use.
Sounds like they're really on the cutting edge.
Yeah, and they're just getting started. As AI technology keeps advancing, we can expect to see some really amazing things from them.
I can't wait. But let's be real, there have to be some downsides or limitations to this approach, right?
Of course, no solution is perfect.
Right.
One thing is that it requires users to be comfortable with technology.
That's a good point. Not everyone's tech savvy, especially, older adults who might not be as familiar with smartphones or apps.
Yeah. And for some people, the lack of face-to-face interaction might be a deal breaker.
They might miss that hands-on aspect of traditional therapy
Exactly.
and that personal connection.
And we can't forget about the digital divide.
Right. Not everyone has a smartphone or reliable internet access, which could make it hard for them to participate.
Those are all really important points.
Hmm.
It shows that digital health isn't a one-size-fits-all solution.
Definitely. It works best for people who are comfortable with technology, have the tools they need, and are motivated to manage their care independently.
And it's important for Hinge Health to, keep those limitations in mind and make sure their programs are as inclusive and accessible as possible.
Absolutely. They need to consider diverse populations and figure out ways to bridge that digital divide.
For sure. So let's go back to Hinge Health's mission for a second.
Okay.
Their tagline, "A joyful life hinges on your ability to move freely," really stuck with me. What are your thoughts on that?
It really highlights how much pain can affect our lives. When you're in pain, it's hard to move freely, do the things you love, or even just get through your day.
It can really bring you down.
And Hinge Health is trying to empower people to overcome that pain and get that freedom back.
They're not just treating the symptoms, they're getting to the root of the problem.
Right, and helping people develop long-term strategies to manage their conditions.
And they're doing it in a way that's personalized, accessible, and fits into people's lives.
It's a powerful mission that could help so many people who are struggling with MSK pain.
Definitely. Before we wrap up, there's one more thing I wanted to touch on. Hinge Health's focus on community and support.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of their model. Dealing with chronic pain can be really isolating, and having a support system makes all the difference.
Exactly. So how do they actually build that sense of community among their users?
Well, the app has this built-in community feature where users can connect with each other, share their experiences, and offer support.
Like a social network for people with MSK pain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It helps people connect with others who really get what they're going through, which can be huge.
It makes it feel less like you're alone in this.
Right. And on top of the online community, Hinge Health also has group coaching sessions led by experienced coaches.
So there's that in-person element too.
Yeah. It gives people a chance to meet face-to-face, ask questions, learn from each other, and build those relationships.
So it's more than just an app, it's a whole community.
Definitely. And that's a really powerful message. They're not just focusing on the physical symptoms of pain, but the emotional and social needs as well.
It's a very holistic approach.
It really is. Hinge Health shows how technology can be used to make healthcare more human-centered.
It's pretty amazing what they've done. So to recap our deep dive into Hinge Health,
They're a company that's making a real difference by combining cutting-edge tech with this human-centered approach to treating MSK pain.
and they're pushing the boundaries of digital health, constantly innovating and reaching more people.
It's been awesome to learn about their journey and their impact.
Absolutely. And we hope our listeners have learned a lot about the potential of digital health to, change healthcare as we know it.
Before we go, what's the one key message you want to leave our listeners with?
I would say if you're dealing with MSK pain, don't lose hope.
There's help out there.
Hinge Health is proving that you can find relief and live a better life, even if traditional treatments haven't worked for you.
They're offering a whole new way to approach MSK care that's personalized, accessible, and effective.
And they're constantly evolving and pushing the limits of what's possible in digital health. It's a really exciting time.
Couldn't agree more. I think we covered a lot of ground today.
We did. We looked at Hinge Health's origins, their unique approach, how they use technology, their focus on women's health, and their commitment to making a real impact.
It's been a really fascinating deep dive into a company that's truly changing lives.
We hope our listeners feel inspired by Hinge Health's story and the potential of digital health to transform healthcare.
And as we wrap up our discussion, we encourage everyone to learn more about Hinge Health and the solutions they offer.
If you're experiencing MSK pain, don't hesitate to reach out for help. There are resources out there to support you on your journey to finding relief.
Absolutely. And remember, a joyful life hinges on your ability to move freely. And we can't wait to, dive into more exciting health tech companies and innovations with you all soon.
Yeah, it's such a fast-moving field.
It really is.
We're excited to see what the future holds.
And until then, stay curious.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
take care of your health.
Knowledge is power when it comes to, taking control of your well-being.
Thanks for spending 10 minutes with us, and be sure to look for more 10-Minute Health Tech podcasts.